at the Stanford Law School, where our executive officer, Ms. Schaefer, was one of the panelists. And I'd like to thank their director, Debbie Mukimel, for the invitation. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tehrani. We will now hear a report from the Chief of the Office of Victim and Survivor Rights and Services, Katie James.
Katie is not here today. Mike Young, Assistant Chief, Office of Victim and Survivor Rights and Services. Good morning. Very brief update from me. Just wanted to update you on a couple of the legislative bills that we are implementing, because I suspect it may come up during the hearing process. The first one is Assembly Bill 1186. This has to do with restitution fines, and that they will become uncollectible after 10 years from the date the fine was imposed. So we are currently working with our accounting office and our trust restitution and accounting system to make the changes in the system so that they will automatically become basically inactive 10 years from the date that that fine was imposed. So beginning January 1st, any fines that are more than 10 years old will cease collections, and then moving forward, once they hit that 10-year mark in the system will stop collecting on restitution fines. So that does not affect victim restitution, direct orders of victim restitution, or the parole revocation fines ordered under 1202.45. The second bill that we're working on implementing is Senate Bill 379. This has to do with restorative justice, victim offender dialogue program, and the accountability letter program. Not really big changes on our part because both of those programs already exist. They're just now in the statute that the department shall offer it. So no changes to victim offender dialogue. It will continue to operate as normal. The only change that we are making has to do with the accountability letter program, and that is due to the fact that the bill specifies that we cannot store the letters in the incarcerated person's central file. So we are going through and we are making that change to store them electronically outside of the central file. So I suppose that may come up. If you're looking for them in the central file, they will no longer be there after January 1st. So those are only two updates I have for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Young. Does any board member wish to request an agenda item for a future meeting? Seeing no hands, we will now hear comments from the public regarding general matters related to the board. We are not taking comments on cases right now. Comments concerning future parole hearings are not permitted during this meeting. Please send those comments to the board for inclusion in the materials for that hearing. Comments are limited to 2 minutes, and there is no opportunity for rebuttal. Please wait to speak until we call your name or identify you by your login information. Moderator, is there anyone seeking to make a general comment related to the board?
Moderator, I believe you're muted.
My apologies, Ms. Schaefer. Sorry, Chairperson. I do not have any speaker cards for general comments. If you would like to make a general comment and are on video, please raise your hand with the Microsoft Teams button and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak.
And moderator, we have 3 persons in person who wish to speak as well. So if there are no comments online, we will move to people in person.
Thank you. That's interesting. If you would like to make a general comment by telephone, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who would like to make a general comment? See, we have someone unmuted. Go ahead. Cynthia Brewer, you have a hand raised. Go ahead. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Okay. Hello, my name is Arturo Alba, and I'm talking in behalf of Mr. Martinez.
I'm so sorry, sir, as ending in 9101, we're not speaking on cases just yet. This is just general comments, and it is someone else's turn to speak currently. Go ahead, Cynthia. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and happy Thanksgiving to you all. Today, I want to address the issue of inmates lying during hearings. So several years ago, I attended a BPH training in which a Hollywood producer spoke about vicarious trauma. And as a result of that presentation, I decided to return to graduate school again to pursue another master's degree, this time in forensic psychology. So this past December, I graduated with distinction after maintaining a 4.33 GPA. At the beginning of each course, each student was required to sign an honor agreement pledging to not engage in any dishonesty, plagiarism, or any other type of assistance from any other sources, and that our work would reflect our own individual efforts. Thus, the grades and the degree conferred upon us was our own work. What is the relevance, you must be wondering, to why I'm bringing this up? Well, as we all know, at the beginning of each hearing, the commissioner tells the inmate that he or she is expected to be completely honest with the panel. Some commissioners recognize lying for what it is, ongoing criminal thinking, while other commissioners say inmates lie, we expect that, and we don't hold it against them. I submit to you that serious consequences flow from inmates who lie. If you as commissioners premise your grant of parole on what an inmate tells you, the inmate should be required to tell the truth before they get a grant. The documents the inmate presents should be the inmate's own work and not a collaboration with others or a simple parroting of program speak. The inmate should be required to demonstrate honest insight and an ability to apply program teachings to his or her own risk factors in an authentic and meaningful way. Inmates can choose to tell the truth or not. Commissioners should not expect or condone
Your 2
lying.
minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Thank you. Please set the standard of expecting an inmate to tell the truth and accept nothing less. Public safety and future victimology depends on it. Thank you.
Thank you. I do believe we had some in-person speakers as well. Is that correct, Ms. Schaefer? And Chairperson?
Yes. Yes. Are there any more online comments?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, then we will begin with Connie Lasky, who is present today. Ms. Lasky.
Good morning. First, we at the California District Attorneys Association would like to congratulate Ms. Schaefer on her pending retirement. It is well earned and well deserved, and we wish you an enjoyable retirement with your family. And on to my public comment. Registered victims and victims next of kin receive a letter that advises them when the inmate has either submitted a petition to advance or when an inmate is being considered for an administrative review. This letter informs them that they have an opportunity to be heard in writing on the advancement of the hearing. The letter contains the following language, and I quote, "Please understand any written comments you submit are not confidential and will be made available to the inmate and his or her representatives," end quote. Some VNOCs do not want the inmate to know that they are submitting objection letters. Some are family members, and some are just still in fear of the victim, of the inmate, for the crime that was perpetrated against them and their loved ones. The language used on this letter is intimidating to victims and can have a chilling effect on the decision for some vulnerable victims, VNOCs, or other concerned individuals to submit a statement. If these individuals are not working with the district attorney's office or other victim rights organizations, they receive no indication from this letter that they can request and have the right to submit their letters confidentially, so that only the commissioners and deputy commissioners can review those statements. The sentence quote above should conclude with the phrase, comma, quote, "unless you request your statement remain confidential," end quote. It is a small change that would have a big impact on our victims. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public speaker is Cheyenne Knox.
The green light? We good? Okay. Yes. My name is Cheyenne Knox. I was found suitable on March 27th by Commissioner David Long, who I can see on the screen. It's kind of nice to see him again. I've been out. I got out released on August 27th, and it's been absolutely incredible to be free. I got arrested when I was 17 years old. I am 54 now. So I've had a lot of you commissioners. I know a lot of you have had you as commissioners before. Went over double-digit times to the board, and it's been incredible. I really owe it to this lady up front to be in her facilitator in her class, the RISE program. It was definitely incredible. I really wanted to thank you guys I know you guys have probably the hardest job in California. I don't care what anyone says. I know it's not easy to judge us inmates, right? And for years, that's all I was a number. And now I'm not. I work as a tow truck driver. Trust me, in this weather, we are severely busy right now. My boss didn't want me to take the day off, but I told him I wanted to come talk. And it's just been incredible. I'm going to college to get my doctorate degree. I want to be a addiction recovery specialist. I also had the psych that spoke. She gave me my criminal risk assessment. So it's kind of unreal seeing all of you. And I remember meeting Jennifer Schaefer probably about 20 years ago at Soledad Prison when she came in. So it's nice to see all you people. And I just really want to thank you all, right? Because I know, like I said, your job is very hard. And thank you for giving us lifers another chance.
Thank you. Good luck to you, Mr. Knox. Final speaker is Vanessa Nelson-Sloan.
Good morning. I'm glad to see Cheyenne out also. He did 18 parole hearings before he was granted parole, which is a lot. I also wanted to speak just for a moment, and I will make every effort to be honest about Ms. Schaefer's retirement. Ms. Schaefer came to the board shortly after I became a thorn in the previous administration's side, a very persistent thorn, and she was a very welcome breath of fresh air. We had been fighting with the previous administration about Bagley Keene, about being able to access transcripts, about being able to access commissioner training. Ms. Schaefer came in, and I think I did one of the first interviews with her when she came on. And I said, "What is your theory of parole?" And she said, "Seek first to understand and then to be understood." And I said, "How do you plan to change the parole board?" And she said, "I want to be sure that we follow the law." That at that time was amazing because the board had not been following the law. And as reflected by the fact that you have to answer so few writs now, you are following the law, more at least. That is all due to Ms. Schaefer. I thank you so much for your communication, for your openness, for your willingness to consider another side. I bring a boots on the ground view that I think the board deserves and needs, and I think it has helped make your board a better board, your decisions better, and the society safer as a whole. The guys that come out, as Cheyenne shows you, are really reformed. They're really ready to go. We're going to help them do that. I have a string of guys that are, in fact, I have 2 at my office right now, former lifers who are working on new projects for Life Support Alliance, because we intend to continue. Although now that Ms. Schaefer has retired, I feel free to look at that a little bit closer as well. Thank you, and we will miss you. I look forward to speaking with Mr. Wyckoff and letting him know our expectations are that progress will continue.
Thank you. Thank you to the public speakers. That concludes the public comment portion of the meeting. So we will now call roll for the commissioners participating in public comment deliberations and voting on the cases on today's agenda. Chairperson is present. Commissioner Barton.
Present.
Commissioner Cassidy. Commissioner Chappelle.
Present.
Commissioner Dobbs.
Present.
Commissioner Kozel.
Present.
Commissioner Nawaje.
Present.
Commissioner O'Meara. Commissioner Purcell. Commissioner Ruff. Commissioner Sheffield.
Present.
Commissioner Tyra.
Present.
Please note for the minutes that a majority of the commissioners currently appointed are present in person. We will now hear comments regarding cases on today's agenda. For each case, first we will take comments from those in support of the incarcerated person, starting with speaker cards, and then those who did not submit a speaker card. Then we will take comments from those in opposition to the incarcerated person, starting with speaker cards, and then calling those who did not submit a speaker card. Comments are limited to 2 minutes. There is no opportunity for rebuttal. If you are speaking, please eliminate any background noise. The moderator will call your name or identify you by your phone number when it is your turn. Your 2 minutes will begin when you start to speak. Our first case today is DARRYL Haggard, AN 1590, item 12 on the agenda. Moderator, please call for speakers in support of DARRYL Haggard.
Thank you, Chairperson. Oh, we do have a speaker card. Jennifer Brown. Jennifer Brown, if you are with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone, and your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, commissioners. I thank you for this opportunity to speak on my son's behalf. I'm just a mother who loves her son, who's had a front row seat to his journey and to the array of emotions that has come with it. I have witnessed a tremendous amount of change from him being 18 to now 33. And just seeing the incredible amount of work that he has just put into himself, and the responsibility that he's accepted and the remorse that he's shown has just really made me very proud of him. It's been a long journey, and I'm hoping that you will uphold his suitability to come home. He has upstanding and outstanding family who loves and supports him, and will do everything possible to make sure that his transition goes well and is smooth. So I appreciate, again, this opportunity to just speak and share a little bit about him, and thank you in advance.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in support of DARRYL, Haggard, and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in support of DARRYL, Haggard, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of DARRYL, Haggard? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of DARRYL, Haggard.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to DARRYL Haggard, and when you conclude online, we do have someone with an in-person comment in opposition.
Perfect, thank you. I do have a speaker card for Connie Lasky. Connie, if you are with us. Oh, perfect. She's in person. There we
she
go.
is.
Thank you.
Good morning again. At the inmate's August parole hearing, the people expressed concerns regarding the inmate's ongoing criminal thinking, based upon his admission at the hearing that he was engaging in restitution avoidance as recently as a week before the hearing. The people also expressed concerns that the inmate's gang involvement may be ongoing in light of his recent rules violations regarding cell phones and past participation in gang violence. The recent confidential investigation, the details of which we were not provided, appear to validate our concerns. From the brief statement in the confidential report, it appears that the inmate was not honest with the board about the extent of his criminal behavior. As the people argued at the parole hearing, the inmate's ongoing criminal thinking and behavior provide a rational nexus between his life crime and his unreasonable risk of danger to public safety. This improvident grant of parole should be reversed. Thank you.
Thank you. Moderator, back to you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition of DARRYL Haggard and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it's your turn to speak. If you're on phone, please want to speak in opposition of DARRYL Haggard, please unmute yourself by pressing *6. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition of DARRYL Haggard? Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak about DARRYL Haggard? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for DARRYL Haggard.
The next case is LAMONT WRIGHT P57977, item 13 on the agenda. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have no speaker cards. If you would like to speak in support of LAMONT WRIGHT and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in support of LAMONT WRIGHT, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who would like to speak in support of LAMONT WRIGHT. Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers in support of Lamont WRIGHT.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Lamont WRIGHT.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have no speaker cards. If you want to speak in opposition of Lamont WRIGHT and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it's your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition of Lamont WRIGHT, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition of Lamont WRIGHT? Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak about Lamont WRIGHT? Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers for Lamont WRIGHT.
The next case is William Welch, K02486, item 14. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have no speaker cards for support. If you would like to speak in support of William Welch and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in support of William Welch, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of William Welch? Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers in support of William Welch.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to William Welch.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have two speaker cards. The first is for Angela Gordon. Angela, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak. Angela, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. I'll circle back to Angela. Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Anthony, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. I'll circle back to them at the end. If you would like to speak in opposition of William Welch and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in opposition of William Welch, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition of William Welch? I'll give one more chance to Angela Gordon. Angela Gordon, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself. Or Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak about William Welch? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for William Welch.
The next case is Kaylee Weisenberg, WE4203, item 15. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you. We have a number of speaker cards. The first is for Jory Weisenberg. Jory, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Hello?
If you're speaking, yes, go ahead.
Good morning, commissioners. My name is Jory Weisenberg. I am Kaylee's younger brother. I am calling to support her being granted parole. I believe Kaylee has done a wonderful job rehabilitating herself, and when she hopefully is granted parole, I will be playing one of the biggest roles in her life to help bring her back into a healthy lifestyle. She will be moving in with me in Bishop, California. I will be responsible to help her attend all meetings and any requirements with her parole. I live a very healthy lifestyle. I am a law-abiding citizen. I take care of my family, and I just want to make sure Kaylee gets off on the right foot when she is back in society. She will also be working with me day to day in job. She already has an administrative position with our family-owned company. So Kaylee will be a part of my everyday life, both outside and inside of work. I would also like to say that Kaylee and I had a very strong relationship before she went through all the things that she did. And I am looking forward to spending time with her and her being a part of our everyday life. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker card we have is for Kendall Weisenberg. Kendall, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone.
Hi, good morning, Commissioners. My name is Kendall Weisenberg. I'm the father of Kaylee Weisenberg. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. I'd like to say that, I'm the president of Kendall Engineering Incorporated, the corporation that Kaylee will be working for when she gets out. I live close to my son. We live in Bishop, California. We're a very close family. We will both be available for Kaylee for anything that she needs to attend to continue her rehabilitation when she's let free from her charges. I think she's worked diligently to rehabilitate herself to the point where I don't think there's much more she can do to establish the fact that she is ready to re-enter society. She has even taken her tribal funds that I've been taking care of and paid off all of her restitution. So when she does get out, she's going to have a small savings account and she'll be ready to rehabilitate and get back into society. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next speaker we have is Stacy Marsh. Stacy Marsh, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Go ahead.
Good morning. Can you hear me, Commissioners?
Yes.
Yes.
Good morning. My name is Stacy Marsh. I'm Kaylee's mother. I would like to start by saying how proud we are of Kaylee for her healing journey. I think she really hit the ground running while incarcerated and has transformed into a woman that is self-aware, knowledgeable, empathetic. She is a bright spot for many in there. Without hesitation, I can say she will continue her journey here with her family with that same commitment. She's very dedicated to her recovery, as we are as a family, very committed to Kaylee's sobriety and recovery as well. I live in Fallon, Nevada. I'm 3 hours away from Bishop, California, but I will be very active in her life and very active in providing her with anything that she needs to continue on a positive path. She has a loving, vast family waiting for her, the family business that she can immerse herself into, as Jory had spoke of. And I also know she wants to continue schooling and do something to give back to some of these lost girls that will suffer the same fate that she has herself. My daughter's healed and ready, and I think that she is going to be a very positive member of society and a very wonderful mother to her kids. She has put in honest, hard work while incarcerated to succeed, and I ask that you please give her that chance. That is all.
Thank you. The next speaker card I have is for Lexi Mikado. Lexi, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Lexi, if you're speaking, we cannot.
Hear me?
Oh, yes, we can. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Lexi. I'm her daughter. I just want to start out by saying that this happened 15 years ago when I was 5 years old. So I lived through a lot of the things that were happening before my mom was incarcerated. And now I am 19, almost 20 years old. My mother has been the most steady and loving person that I have had in my life. She has taught me so much about this experience and what she has been through to become a new and rehabilitated person. And I can honestly say that from what I remember, she has rebuilt herself from the ground up. And the only person that has really showed me that this is a learning curve and just a part of something that we have to go through in our life, our chapter together, our family, she is the one person that guided me. So I hope that if you guys find her suitable today, you will give me the chance to grow that outside of just a phone call or an email, and I will actually have the chance to rebuild that life with my mother that I was never able to have. So thank you so much for letting me speak today.
Thank you. Our next speaker card is for Susan Bustamante. Susan, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Go ahead.
My name is Susan Bustamante. I am the reentry coach for Home Free, and I'm going to be speaking for me and the director, Tammy Cooper Garvin, that we're the reentry program that she has been accepted to. Boy, it's hard to follow the daughter. Sorry. I have met Katie a couple of times when I've gone into CCWF for programs, and I watched her there and seen her interaction. And I'm being part of Home Free. She checks in with us, and she's doing everything needed. And at Home Free, she will have all that she needs for her rehabilitation, getting her documents, going to groups, doing whatever the board mandates her to do. And it's a very safe place for her to come to. And we are excited to give her a stability place to come to. She has done all her programming inside, so I'm not even going to speak on that. But she will continue her mandated AANA or whatever meetings that is required, and we're looking forward to having her with us. And congratulations, Ms. Schaefer. It was good to see you recently. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in support of Kaylee Weisenberg and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. I see we have a hand raised for Hope Beyond. Go ahead, ma'am. Unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Hi, my name is Jody DeMilo, and I am co-director of Hope Beyond, and our mission is to bring hope to women in prison. Our main thing is building relationships with them, showing them what healthy relationships look like, and guiding them through a process when they go to board that works through their childhood, their trauma, all of their healing. And Kaylee has done this work with us. We're just a 3-year-old organization, and she's been walking with us almost the whole time. She was one of our first girls that we started working with. And the thing that stands out to me about Kaylee is her tenacity to, she's just continued to do the right thing, because she's been in limbo for a while. She was found suitable twice, and then she got the reversal, and she has just stayed so consistent. She's so stable. She has maintained relationship with us. We have a couple volunteers that correspond with her, and she has maintained these relationships. And I've seen that she knows how to have a healthy friendship. Yes, express emotion, but she is just extremely consistent and stable. So I have no doubt that she'll also continue relationship with us. We want to stick with these girls long term. So even after they get out, we visit them, we provide practical support. But again, our main thing is a mentorship and a healthy relationship. So if she's local, we will see her a lot and introduce her to more community in our area. And even when they're long distance, we travel to visit them. So we just see value in everyone, and we want them to know that. And so we truly believe in Kaylee. We think that she has what it takes.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Okay, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much. There's 2 of us here from Hope Beyond on the same platform. If we could both speak, that'd be great.
Yes, your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak. Hello, Celia.
Hi, my name is Celia Referral. I am also one of the other founders of Hope Beyond. We have worked with Kaylee, like Jody had stated, for almost 3 years now. Kaylee did our board preparation packet, and she worked really hard with us during that time. When the governor reversed her, she picked up the phone and immediately called us for support and for encouragement. She stayed on track. She continued to do her programming. I myself was a lifer and was reversed by the governor as well at one time, and had that support and that encouragement out here as well. And I know what it felt like to have that reversal. Kaylee stayed focused on her programming, just like I did during my incarceration. And she just never let the whole situation get her down. She continued to do what she had to do. Like Jody stated, we will be a support to her once she is paroled. If she does come up here to the Bay Area where we are, we're only half an hour away. So we will be seeing her, spending time with her. We'll be a phone call away for anything that she may need as far as getting bus transportation or rides to her parole officer, whatever she needs to transition back into the community. We will 100% be by her side. So we hope that her grant will be held and that she'll be able to come home. Thank you so much.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in support of Kaylee Weisenberg and are joining us by telephone, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Hi, my name is Melissa Dean. I am formerly incarcerated as a lifer as well, and I was roommates with Kaylee. And I just want to say, without Kaylee, I probably wouldn't have been found suitable. She is the icon of what a person in prison should do. She hit the ground running. We started a group together called Felons Against Drunk and Distracted Driving, and she wrote the curriculum for that. And she is super focused on rehabilitation and recovery. That is her #1. She has strong family support. I too am part of Hope Beyond, as with Celia and Jody, and they come visit me. I'm down in San Diego County, and I will be here to support Kaylee upon her release as well. Whatever she needs, I would be there for her. And I want to go drive and see her. But like she said, she had a reversal, and she didn't let that take her down. She continued to strive and just be a better person and do more. And the groups she facilitates help so many people. And I know when she gets out, she's going to continue this work, and she's going to continue to thrive in the community. And I just hope you guys grant her the opportunity to go back to see her daughter and her family, because she deserves it. Out of anybody, she deserves it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Kaylee Weisenberg? Yes, go ahead. Go ahead and start speaking.
Oh, I think that was background noise in a different room.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Kaylee Weisenberg? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of Kaylee Weisenberg.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Kaylee Weisenberg.
Thank you. We do have a speaker card, Jessica Curley, DDA of San Luis Obispo County. Jessica, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Your 2 minutes begin when you start to speak.
Thank you. Kaylee Weisenberg was high on methamphetamine, pregnant, and driving in an inebriated state of rage when she hit and took the life of CHP officer Brett Oswald. She was very familiar with the stretch of road she killed him on. She drove it often and even named it the Slingshot. Her insane driving history included 2 other collisions resulting in injuries prior to killing Officer Oswald. Now, she was only 22 years old when she took his life. So that means she was a serious threat for the entirety of her short driving career. At the last parole hearing, we learned that her sobriety was threatened just a year ago when she received notice of the governor's reversal. She said in that hearing that she was in extreme danger of relapse at that point because she wanted to numb the feelings. Now, that was only a year ago. This underscores the reasons for the governor's reversal, that no matter how many programs she's undergone, she continues to pose an unreasonable threat of danger to the community. Parole was granted at the last hearing, pending further investigation into a dating profile that she maintained while in prison. We learned at the last parole hearing, according to somebody who had accessed the profile, that this profile said, and I quote, that she had made a few mistakes, but was looking for love. At that parole hearing, parole was granted pending the results of an investigation into that profile. We did receive a memorandum regarding a confidential report dated September 23rd, 2024.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Thank you. The board has access to this memorandum. We ask that you review it and consider the results in conjunction with the rest of the reasons I've given today in making your decision. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition of Kaylee Weisenberg and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in option of Kaylee Weisenberg, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition of Kaylee Weisenberg? Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak about Kaylee Weisenberg? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Kaylee Weisenberg.
The next case is Saul Ambrose, AY 7821, item 16 on the agenda. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have no speaker cards. If you would like to speak in support of Saul Ambrose and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in support of Saul Ambrose, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who wants to speak in support of Saul Ambrose? Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers in support of Saul Ambrose.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Saul Ambrose.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have no speaker cards. If you would like to speak in opposition of Saul Ambrose and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition of Saul Ambrose, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition of Saul Ambrose? Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak about Saul Ambrose? Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers for Saul Ambrose.
Thank you. The next case is Patrick Bayless, V 31394, item 17. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have no speaker cards. If you would like to speak in support of Patrick Bayless and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. I see we have a couple of hands raised. The first is Tommy Shakur or Shakur. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Thank you. I'll be reading a written statement. Esteemed commissioners, my name is Tommy Ross, and I'm a GRIP facilitator and program communication associate at the GRIP Training Institute. In October of 2021, I was found suitable by this board and was paroled from San Quentin after serving 37 years. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to contribute to the community. Thank you for entrusting me with all the responsibilities and opportunities of a returned citizen. While incarcerated, I had an opportunity to learn and evolve in ways I never imagined. Upon my release, I was employed by the GRIP Training Institute. I currently go back inside to facilitate GRIP at San Quentin and CTF. I find it an honor to be able to be of inspiration and motivation to the people incarcerated, demonstrating the idea that change is possible if one is willing to do the work. I'm speaking on behalf of Patrick Bayless in regards to who he is today. I came to meet Mr. Bayless many years ago and later came to know him through his participation in Guiding Rage into Power at San Quentin. I have observed and interacted and worked with Mr. Bayless on many occasions. I can speak towards his participation in GRIP. Mr. Bayless is a model of the skills and the awareness that GRIP is designed to develop in participants. Mr. Bayless was in my circle where I witnessed him being very open and honest and vulnerable by sharing personal experience of hurt and shame that led to the horrible crimes he committed. I have no doubt that Mr. Bayless understands the magnitude of these offenses, is remorseful, and has developed insight into them. Perhaps the most compelling endorsement I can make for Mr. Bayless is that he is a certified GRIP facilitator, and he is someone I would trust to hold and lead any space designed for personal and group healing. I know that he already holds positions.
Your 2 minutes has elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Based on who I know Patrick Willis to be today, I can confidently say that he has come to terms with his past criminality, and he is a good person and is of service to others. Thank you for your time, effort, and consideration.
Thank you. The next person with their hand up, Denise Wooden. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, hi. My name is Denise Wooden, and I am Patrick's eldest sister. And I am here today just to show my support for my brother. He has shown a lot of progress since he's been incarcerated. He decided to put me as a part of his accountability team. And I have read that thing in its entirety, and I agree with every word that he put there and every program that he has gone through. And we've witnessed some of those programs that he's graduated from by coming, visiting, and a lot of the graduations that he has had. I understand that this accountability program is a contract, and I feel that by my name being on that contract, that I would definitely make sure that he abides by everything that he's written down there. He has programs that he's completed. He's taken care of a lot, well, not actually taken care of, but he's done and completed a lot of mental health programs that he had to have take there. He's taking care of his sobriety, and I really believe that he's on that path of not even looking back, because he's put so much effort and time and dedication into what he needs to do to be able to be into society again. And we will definitely make sure
that he gets to all of these programs that he's asked, that he's put on his
Your
accountability
2 minutes
list.
have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Okay. I just wanted to say that Patrick has grandchildren, and we talk a lot about what he needs to do out here and how he needs to see them grow. They're young enough for him to see them grow. And if he's suitable, we would love to see that the commissioners make the choice to allow him to be able to be in society again.
Thank you. The next hand up we have is for Derek Holloway. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Derek. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Thank you. Hi to all the board members, Jennifer Schaefer, thank you for all the work you all do for having the keys to the city, well, to the state of California. I am formerly incarcerated, spent 25 years in prison. For 10 years at San Quentin, I was the inmate pastor there. I've been knowing Patrick Bayless for almost 20 years now. He has called me every Saturday between the time of 9 and 11, every Saturday morning for us to just check in with him spiritually. And I could tell you that all of the time that we met, I've watched his maturation process go, and not just behavior modification, but really a change of mind. And we all know when the mind changes, feelings change. When those feelings change, behaviors and the outcomes are much different. So I thank you guys today. I pray that each one of you will discern and see who he is today. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in support of Patrick Bayless, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Patrick Bayless?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, my name is Dwayne Adams. I've been knowing Mr. Bayless for 39 years. We went to college together. I know his family. He knew my family. And I want to say that the Mr. Bayless that you guys that was arrested at that time is not the Mr. Bayless that I knew. But Mr. Bayless that I know is the one that has changed and went back to himself when I first met him. He's went through several programs. He's been a support system for me, even when he was out. When my father passed away, he was there for me, and my brother passed away while he was incarcerated, and he was there for me. He never asked me for anything. He always checked to make sure that I was okay. Actually, I consider him to be an older brother. I work with a program called All for One, and I think that he would be suitable for release because of the fact that he's admitted guilt. He's changed. I mean, I believe sincerely changed, and I love him like a brother, and I think he'll be a benefit to society, and I would trust him with anyone in my family and in any space that I have. That's what I want to say about Mr. Bayless. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We also have hand raised for Charles K. Charles, go ahead and unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Hello, my name is Charles King, and I was formerly incarcerated. I was released in 2018 after serving 25 years. And me and Mr. Bailey have been friends since 2011. We talk every Saturday, and we help him get the programs that he needed to help him rehabilitate himself, my wife and I. And we are just looking forward for him to be released and become a good member of society, and maybe be a voice to help those not to become incarcerated and just stay on a good path and be a productive citizen. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Patrick Bayless? Chairperson,
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, go ahead. Your 2
Hi,
minutes starts.
my name is Kanya Bayless Cage, and I am also an older sister to Patrick. And I am just speaking to the commissioners to let them know I speak to my brother every day, and we used to visit every Sunday until COVID. So we talk every day, and I have seen the growth, and I hear the growth of my brother, and we are a close-knit family. He has friends that has his well-being and their care, and I am a business owner, and I am looking forward to my brother coming home to be a part of my business. I have a catering business, and my brother's a very good cook, so I'm looking forward to that. And like my sister said, I'm tag on to what she said, that he has a daughter, grandchildren, nieces and nephews who misses him dearly, other brothers and sisters, and we have lost family members, close family members. And I just know my brother is ready to come home, and I see that change in my brother, and I know he will fall in line, whatever the commissioner has for him to follow. Like my sister said, we will make sure that he gets to every meeting or everything that he needs to do. And I just pray that you guys vote for my brother to come home to be with his family. And thank you guys. God bless.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Patrick Bayless? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of Patrick Bayless.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Patrick Bayless.
Thank you, Commissioner. I have no speaker cards in opposition. If you would like to speak in opposition of Patrick Bayless and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in opposition of Patrick Bayless, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition of Patrick Bayless? Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak about Patrick Bayless? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Patrick Bayless.
Thank you. The next case is Louis Bernaby, BF 2931, item 18. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have no speaker cards. If you would like to speak in support of Louis Bernaby and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in support of Louis Bernaby, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who wants to speak in support of Louis Bernaby? Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers in support of Louis Bernaby.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Louis Bernaby.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have no speaker cards. If you would like to speak in opposition of Louis Bernaby and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in opposition of Louis Bernaby, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition of Louis Bernaby? Is there anyone who has not spoken who would like to speak about Louis Bernaby? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Louis Bernaby.
Thank you. The next case is Isabel Solis, X 10370, item 19. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have no speaker cards for support. If you would like to speak in support of Isabel Solis and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in support of Isabel Solis, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who would like to speak in support of Isabel Solis? Chairperson, there appear to be no speakers in support of Isabel Solis.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Isabel Solis.
If you would like to speak I do have a couple of speaker cards. The first is for Rosa Clark, DDA of San Luis Obispo County. Rosa, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself. And your
Can you
2
hear
minutes
me?
starts when you, yes, we can, go ahead.
Okay. My name is Rosa Clark, and I'm a prosecutor appearing on behalf of the San Luis Obispo District Attorney's Office. The parole suitability hearing for Isabel Celis failed to adequately address the governor's concerns regarding public safety. Ms. Celis' testimony revealed inconsistencies, a lack of full accountability, and insufficient evidence of rehabilitation. Following her parole hearing, Ms. Celis admitted to a district attorney investigator that she lied to the parole board. That interview was recorded. During the parole hearing, she blamed her son to facilitate her own release. Her son was a co-defendant in the murder. Now that she has been granted parole, she has once again altered her story, saying that she murdered the victim so that her son's petition can't be granted. These shifting narratives reveal a pattern of manipulation and cast doubt on the sincerity of her remorse. Although Ms. Celis acknowledged enabling her son's violent behavior, she failed to present specific, actionable plans to address similar risk post-release. Her participation in rehabilitative programs lacks evidence of practical application, leaving significant concerns about her ability to reintegrate safely. Ms. Celis has expressed fears about reentering society after 2 decades in prison, but has not provided detailed parole plans for managing stress or avoiding conflicts. Her vague assurances to avoid violence fall short of demonstrating readiness for release. Ms. Celis' admission to fabricating her testimony further validates her concerns about her manipulative tendencies. The parole hearing failed to address key concerns about Ms. Celis' readiness for release. Her inconsistent statements, lack of accountability, and pattern of manipulation underscore the need to prioritize public safety and ensure genuine rehabilitation before affirming her grant of parole. Thank you.
Thank you. The second speaker card I have is for Crystal Bartow. Crystal, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute or press *6 by telephone.
Hello, I'm Crystal Bartow, the youngest daughter of the victim, Norma Bartow. Tomorrow will be the 21-year anniversary of my mother's murder. I just wanted to point out a few things. I did provide a written statement that you can read all of my thoughts, but just to touch on a few points. It was stated in her parole that she has no criminal history. I want to point out that she came to this country illegally, and we don't know the crimes that she committed in Mexico. We don't even know that Isabel Celis is her real name. She could have come here and started a new identity. We don't know. She comes from an abusive family, a violent family. She produced a violent son. She's violent herself. In her own words, she called herself a heartless monster with no feelings. I would classify someone like that as a sociopath. She is very antisocial. She always has been. She came to my bridal shower, my wedding reception. She never said hello, congratulations. She never talked to me. She never smiled. After a week after killing my mom, she never talked to us. She never said anything, but she did walk up to us and get a stack of missing persons flyers and pretended like she was going to go out and look for my mom, knowing well where what happened to her. She's manipulative. She has other children that she can manipulate to help her commit more crimes, like she did with her son Miguel. Please don't fall for this this act of acting like she's old and feeble. Her mind is sound, and she can manipulate others to help her.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
I hope that you do read my whole letter, and please deny her parole. She's not suitable to be in society. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition of Isabel Celis and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you want to speak in opposition of Isabel Celis, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition of Isabel Celis? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Isabel Celis? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Isabel Celis.
Thank you. The next case is Salvador Hernandez, P27777, item 20. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. We do have some speaker cards. The first is for Elizabeth Martinez. Elizabeth, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak. Go ahead. Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, good morning. Members of the parole board, I am Elizabeth Martinez, sister of Salvador Hernandez. I visit my brother every 2 weeks for the last 26 years. And we've talked about how remorseful he feels for his actions. And I'm here to help him when transition himself if coming home, helping him through NAAA and any other transitions I could help him with. I'm here to help him financially if possible. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. The second speaker card I have is for Irma Hernandez.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Your 2 minutes starts. We can hear you.
Yes, thank you for allowing me to speak today on behalf of my brother Salvador. I am requesting your consideration to grant his parole. My brother has served over 26 years, and over this time he has shown deep remorse and responsibility for his actions. In these 26 years, I have seen not only personal but educational strides that he has made. He has earned his GED among 3 additional associate degrees to better himself, and has also assisted in being a teacher's assistant to help others and to grow as well and learn some valuable skills that will translate when he rejoins the community, like welding, which could help him secure work upon his release. I would like you to please take in consideration that not only has he served these 26 years, but so has our family. Most importantly, our parents who are aging, and it's harder for them to travel the 6-hour trip, 3 hours each way to go visit him every 2 weeks. We'd like the opportunity for him to come and help care for our aging parents, and also for him to be able to spend whatever time we have left this time for our parents, so that he can be a part of our family again. And we are certain that he will be a good community member. And most importantly, we truly believe and have seen that he is ready to put in the work to become a good member of society upon his release. His family is here to support him emotionally, financially, spiritually, and we just ask for your consideration in making this life-changing decision and granting his parole. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker card I have is for Salvador Hernandez. Salvador, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself. I see that you're with us. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Yes, I'm Salvador Hernandez. I'm Salvador's father. I'm here to support my son, Salvador. His substance has deeply affected our family. He has always been caring and responsible, and thus his incarceration, he has shown remorse He has earned 3 degrees and helped others as a teacher assistant. If granted parole, I will support him financial and will be provide housing and everything they need. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in support of Salvador Hernandez and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in support of Salvador Hernandez, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Salvador Hernandez? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of Salvador Hernandez.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Salvador Hernandez.
Thank you, Chairperson. I do have a speaker card for Judy Hudson. Judy, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
I am Judy Hudson. I am the victim in this crime. October 15th, 2024, I see from the governor's office said, the psychologist categorized Mr. Hernandez as representing an above average risk for sexual offense reconviction based on static factors and found that his score fairly represents his current risk level. The psychologist cautioned that Mr. Hernandez did not provide an adequate response when discussing his sexual deviant behavior. And at his hearing, the panel found that Mr. Hernandez demonstrated adequate insight into his triggers for sexual offending and how to manage them. From the previous parole meetings that I have attended all of them, he has never acknowledged how he got my information and how it was premeditated. It also is everything I've listened to him talk to, he's never internalized what he has done. He has simply read a book, from what I can claim. On the last parole meeting, he did admit that he was planning, that he was going to slit my throat and my son's throat, who was 7 years old and would happen to be in the bed with me. My son is still off and on having to go to his therapist just from the PTSD from all this. Me, I am shaking right now. The fact that I was granted at that court hearing 45 years to life. He has turned my life upside down, my son's life upside down. I lost my house. I've lost numerous other things that I can't replace because of him. He was, even if he was 21 years old, he still had a choice he could have made. And his choice was not the right one. He chose to come in and change, rape me, bind me up, gag me. I barely had a nostril to breathe through while he put a...
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
My conclusion is, please, I was given 45 years to life. And from what I've heard from his parole meetings, he is not ready to get out. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition of Salvador Hernandez and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in opposition of Salvador Hernandez, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition of Salvador Hernandez? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Salvador Hernandez? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Salvador Hernandez.
Thank you. The next case is Michael Jackson Jr. v. 25477, item 21. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Thank you, Chairperson. We do have a few speaker cards. The first is for Connie Marble. Connie, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak. Connie Marble, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. We'll circle back to Connie. The next speaker card is for Alita Cash. Alita, go ahead and unmute yourself. Alita, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi. Good morning to everyone that's in attendance. My name is Alita Cash. I'm Michael Jackson Jr.'s biological mother. And I called to give support for Michael. Michael is the eldest out of 7 kids. He went in as a young man, and through the rehabilitation, through the prison system, I can now say that my son is a grown man. During this time, he has created a bond with his daughter, which is 12 years old. She was 3 when he went in. And they've constantly talked on the phone. He's been an inspiration to his younger son, his younger brother, Mason, who can't attend because he's in class today. Mason is the youngest. He's the first of the generation to go to college. Michael was an inspiration to him to motivate him to continue his education. He went to junior college. In less than a year, he graduated and was accepted at a university, A&T University. I'm here to say that I see the change in my son. I hear it in his voice. I see it in his actions. I am here to help him in any way possible, financially, emotionally, spiritually, and I look forward, if the board grant him parole, and him helping co-parent with me to raise his daughter. Thank you for your time, and I'm grateful to be able to have the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker card I have is for Verona Clemens. Verona, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute. Verona, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. I'll give another chance to Connie Marble. Connie, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, it says I'm no longer muted. Can you hear me now for Venora Clemens?
Yes, we can.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so my name is Venora Clemens. I'm a family friend, been a family friend for over 24 years. I'm currently a project manager here at Community Health Works. And part of our program, we also work with state parole, and we help get individuals who's reentering back into society. And Michael is eligible for our reentry program, and we will help him get established and connected to all of the services that was surrounded around his parole needs. And after we address those concerns, we'll also be able to help him with our CalAIM program, and that right there will help Michael with finding housing, help all of his and address all of his medical and mental health needs, as well as we support with employment opportunity as well while he integrates back into society. And I'm a big support in this right here. Michael has children that he needs to get back to who does not no longer have their mother and who is in need of their father's presence. And I am here to support you guys as releasing him back into society.
Thank you.
And you have to tell Connie she has to press *6 in order to be unmuted.
Oh, okay. If Connie, if you're with us, go ahead and press *6, unmute yourself. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak. Connie Marble, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. All right. If you are on the phone and looks like we have someone unmuted, go ahead.
Okay, hi, sorry about that. My name is Connie Marble. I am the younger sister of Michael Jackson, and I'm just here basically to, first of all, thank you to the members of the board for this consideration, and just basically to say how I'm here to help and support. As Venora, I do work at the same place that she works at, and the plan for Michael is to you know, once he is released, the week following his release, get him set up with psychiatric, mental health services. I feel like he is has taken 100% accountability for his crime. I feel like he's been rehabilitated. I feel like he is remorseful. He's empathetic. And the plan is I don't know if you can see or not, but he has a letter, so he has a job where he'll be working. He's already been accepted into a halfway house who's willing to accept him. And my plan, since I'll be his primary supporter here with family being out of town, is to help him any way that I can with transportation barriers, financial, however it is that I can help support him. And I appreciate you guys' time and consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in support of Michael Jackson Jr. and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in support of Michael Jackson Jr., please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Michael Jackson Jr.? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of Michael Jackson Jr.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Michael Jackson Jr.
Thank you, Chairperson. We do have a speaker card for Dean Archibald, BDA of Sacramento County. Dean, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute or press *6 by telephone. Your 2 minutes begins when you start to speak.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. This is Dean Archibald, Deputy District Attorney, Sacramento County District Attorney's Office. Good afternoon, Commissioners. People are opposed to Mr. Jackson's release. Mr. Jackson is someone who, look at his prison record. He has some positive things there, but he's someone who has always maintained a shadow life, which sometimes emerges into the light and is shown to be ongoing criminality, ongoing gangsterism in prison. Mr. Jackson is someone who really is never gives the whole story. You look at the life crime, there the victim had his jaw broken so severely he lost his job and had his jaw wired shut for 2 months. Mr. Jackson says, well, I punched him a couple times. I thought he was abusing my nephew. But, the victim says, of course, that Mr. Jackson slugged him with a pistol again and again and again, breaking his jaw. And it's interesting to note that Mr. Jackson there said that, well, he took action against the victim because he'd heard the victim was abusing his nephew. Jump forward to 2019, Mr. Jackson's most recent documented rules violation. There was behavior which could lead to violence. There, a counselor was talking to Mr. Jackson about Mr. Jackson's recent rules violations regarding cell phones and others. And Mr. Jackson became irate, very intense, very angry at the counselor because the counselor informed him that Mr. Jackson was going to lose some privileges. And Mr. Jackson's response to that, when he was told that he could appeal, was, I'll deal with it in some other way. I'll take action in some other way. I don't want to appeal. And so he, amongst other threats to the counselor who was only doing his job. So this is someone who really there's not a lot of change in Mr. Jackson. In
Your
the
2 minutes have elapsed. Sir, please conclude your statement.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. I would just wind up with, Mr. Jackson is someone who, given his criminality in prison, his gangsterism in prison, which he hasn't separated from to any noticeable extent, he's someone who does not have a prolonged period of verifiable positive rehabilitation and therefore is unsuitable for parole. Thank you. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition of Michael Jackson Jr. and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in opposition of Michael Jackson Jr., please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition of Michael Jackson Jr.? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Michael Jackson Jr.? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Michael Jackson Jr.
Thank you, moderator. Commissioners and members of the public, it's about 10 minutes till 1 right now. We will take a 30-minute lunch break. Folks can feel confident stepping away from their computers for the next 30 minutes. We will go back into this session at 1:20 p.m.
Thank you.
2 minutes. Okay, that's us.
Until you're told, would be my guess.
They put us back on. That's
Yeah.
On our screens. If the moderator's there, if the moderator could let us know the moderator is ready, that would be great. Okay.
Yes, welcome back. Sorry about that. Was having a little bit of an issue with the timers, but we are back.
On. Great. Okay. So the commission's back and moderator's back. The public is back. The next case is James Lee. That's AT 6989, item 22. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
The first speaker is Brittany Lee. Brittany, if you are there, please unmute your mic, and your 2 minutes will begin when you begin to speak.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Brittany Lee. I am James Lee's oldest daughter. I am calling in today on behalf of myself, my younger sister, my father's parents, sisters, nieces, and whole family and support system. I would like to give a little background on my relationship with my dad before and throughout his incarceration, the significant personal growth he has gained, and the continued support he will receive once he is released. Throughout his time being incarcerated, I feel like I've truly met my dad for the first time for who he really is, because he's been able to find himself. He has broken boundaries within himself that he has never been able to do, not only show emotion, but explain his feelings and understand them. He has taken advantage of the resources provided by the correctional facilities to not only gain educational knowledge, but he has taken courses that have helped him emotionally, mentally, and psychologically. He has been able to unlock demons that have haunted him throughout his life that he has subconsciously chosen to lock up instead of deal with. Since the beginning of his time being incarcerated, James has received his GED in Santa Clara Main Jail, stayed busy in AA and NA meetings, became a sponsor to multiple men, actively working on step work, taking on different job positions, continued taking college courses, and attending programs that has helped his personal growth as an individual. He became the facilitator for the responsibility-driven group for harms and dangers of drunk driving. Even after being granted parole in June, James continues to contribute to his programs and focusing on his release. He has taken advantage of the time and resources available to him to truly find who he is, what was missing, and what he needs to do to continue to be that man. During and after his parole hearing in June, he has helped other inmates by providing them with guidance and advice for their parole packets and preparation. He has realized that asking for help isn't a sign for weakness, but growth, that there are healthy options to hardships, and that he will forever have to keep putting that work in for himself. In a way, serving this time has been a blessing from my father, because he has chosen to take this as an opportunity to educate himself, work on his mental, physical, and emotional health, and take all these building blocks with him to be successful.
Your 2 minutes have
in society.
elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
I'm just wrapping up. My family has always been supported my dad throughout his incarceration, and the same support will continue upon the release back in society. If granted release, we'll have confirmation on placement at the support system house here in San Jose. He has a job position immediately available.
Can you please wrap up, ma'am?
Yes,
Thank
and
you.
we believe that all the love and family and support will be, he'll be a great positive contribution to society with no threat to reoffend. Thank you so much for your time.
The next speaker is Aaron Breeden. Aaron, if you were there, please unmute your mic and your 2 minutes begin when you begin speaking.
Yes, thank you, commissioners. My name is Aaron Breeden. I was Mr. Lee's attorney at his parole suitability hearing. I'd like to state, number one, we contend that his parole grant is supported by the structured decision-making framework utilized by the California Department of Corrections and Board of Parole Hearings. Two, he does have a cognizable liberty interest in parole granted by due process. And three, there is no good cause to rescind parole. Number one, Mr. Lee's parole grant is supported by the structured decision-making framework. The commissioners, Commissioner Sharif, and I believe it was Chambers, applied the relevant categories listed in the parole hearing process handbook to the facts and evidence and concluded that Mr. Lee did not pose an unreasonable risk to public safety. Number one, he does have positive or mitigating institutional behavior. He has no 115s or 28s during his time in custody. He has engaged in numerous educational programs, college programs. He is engaged in numerous work and vocational programs. Mr. Lee does live in the honor dorm. Number two, Mr. Lee has positive or mitigating programs. He has numerous programs that are targeted towards the causative factors of his crime, including GOGI, multiple prep, courses on insight, victims awareness, parenting class, Turning Point, GRIP, which is a 1-year program. Number three, Mr. Lee does have positive or mitigating parole plans. Those are detailed and including a sponsor. Most importantly, Mr. Lee does have positive or mitigating offender change. Commissioners Sharif and Chambers conducted a thorough examination of Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee was able to identify and articulate the causative factors that led to the life crime. He was able to discuss childhood trauma that led to external and internal triggers and stressors. In addition, the CRA authored by Brad Barkley, approved 3/6/2024, gave Mr. Lee a low risk rating, which supports a release and suitability. At this point, I don't see any good cause that would be in the record that would support a rescission of parole.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
At this time, I ask this board to uphold the suitability determination by Commissioners Sharif and Chambers. Thank you.
If you would like to speak in support of James Lee and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and want to speak in support of James Lee, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of James Lee? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of James Lee.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to James Lee.
If you would like to speak in opposition of James Lee and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in opposition of James Lee, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition of James Lee? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about James Lee? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for James Lee.
Okay, I'll call the next case. And moderator, your mic is getting a little scratchy. I don't know if there's anything simple you can do about that as we now turn to the next case, which is Shannon LaFawn, WG0249, item 23. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
If you would like to speak in support of Shannon LaFawn and are on video, raise your hand using the Talk Teams button. I will call you when it's your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in support of Shannon LaFawn, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Shannon LaFawn? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Shannon LaFawn.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Shannon LaFawn.
If you would like to speak in opposition of Shannon LaFawn and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in opposition of Shannon LaFawn, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition of Shannon LaFawn? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Shannon LaFawn? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Shannon LaFawn.
Thank you. The next case is Marcella Lunsford, X19815, item 24 on the agenda. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
The first speaker is Gary Manis. Gary, you have 2 minutes. Your 2 minutes begin when you begin speaking.
Are
you there?
Yes, my name is Gary Manus. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hi, my name is Gary Manus. I am Marcella Lunsford's youngest brother. I just wanted to say that I love my sister and I'm here to support her in anything she needs, like money, food, clothes, someone to talk to. I'm a Christian, and so I know we will be talking about God a lot. And I have been supporting her ever since she has been incarcerated, with money, clothes, food boxes, talking to her on the phone. And I have been supporting her for over 20 years since she's been incarcerated, and I will keep helping her, my sister. I will support my sister in any way I can. Marcella is my sister and my family, and I love my sister. I pray for her release. Thank you all so much.
Moderator, can you please call for the next speaker?
If there are some issues connecting, I can continue.
If you could please step in, that'd be great for a few rounds here.
No problem. It looks like Nicholas Considine. Nicholas Considine, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Your 2 minutes start when you begin to speak.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Nicholas Considine, and I'm a certified law student at USC's Post-Conviction Justice Project. I will be reading excerpts from various support letters from the incarcerated peers of Ms. Lunsford that can be found in the official record of Ms. Lunsford's July 2nd subsequent parole hearing. Of her experience as a member of CIW's Protestant choir with Ms. Lunsford, one of her peers wrote, quote, "She always offered to support the other members. She got along well with others and accepted feedback well. She was a very committed participant and had great people skills. Her experiences allowed her to read a room, give honest and insightful feedback, and to empower others and herself to reach healthy solutions to building upon community within this atmosphere. I've also observed her handle difficult situations with poise, grace, and with tact so that all parties are heard and feel comfortable to communicate. I know that Ms. Lunsford will be a bright light to those around her once released because she's already shining in here," end quote. Of her 5-year friendship with Ms. Lunsford, another peer wrote, quote, "I've watched her grow and mature. I admire her determination, persistence, and kindness. I have observed how she offers words of wisdom, encouragement, and peaceful solutions to many troubled women of all ages. She has demonstrated rehabilitation by her actions and being responsible. She is very polite with others and always very respectful towards staff. She's an advocate for a safe and violence-free environment. She has also shown great patience and adapted to the constant changes she's had to face in a prison setting. She has utilized this time during her incarceration to reestablish herself." End quote. These words of support are a testament to Ms. Lunsford's transformation into a mature, kind, and pro-social woman with capabilities of forming and maintaining healthy relationships. We urge the board to uphold the panel's well-reasoned suitability determination. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker card we have is for Caitlin Cummings. Caitlin, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. I see you're with us. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Caitlin Cummings, and I am a certified law student with USC's Post-Conviction Justice Project representing Ms. Lunsford. The panel appropriately granted parole on July 2nd, 2024. Ms. Lunsford does not pose an unreasonable risk of current danger to society and must be released on parole. Governor Newsom asked the board to determine if Ms. Lunsford's rehabilitative gains and proposed parole plans are sufficient to support her safe release. The referral expressed concerns only with Ms. Lunsford's historical risk factors of antisocial thinking, poor coping skills, and relationships raised in her 2024 CRA, all of which, as the panel already determined, Ms. Lunsford has adequately addressed. The 2024 CRA concluded that Ms. Lunsford poses a low risk for future violence. Dr. Kim Gosef, who conducted this assessment, specifically noted that Ms. Lunsford's most salient historical risk factors, quote, appear to have been mitigated, end quote. The panel agreed that Ms. Lunsford has, quote, engaged in a lengthy period of positive rehabilitation and does not present an unreasonable risk to public safety at the current time, end quote. The panel made a point to mention that Ms. Lunsford, quote, addressed the risk factors identified in the CRA through active participation and completion of programming, both as a participant and facilitator, end quote. Ms. Lunsford has an impressive resume of rehabilitative programming, completing courses in areas such as relationships, stress management, healing trauma, and more. Ms. Lunsford's programming is numerous and relevant to her risk factors, particularly those raised as concerns in the referral. She has also completed extensive educational and vocational training, which has instilled in her a sense of self-worth and confidence that serves as a preemption for the coping mechanisms she has fostered while incarcerated. Furthermore, Ms. Lunsford has detailed, realistic, and concrete release plans specifically addressing each of the concerns brought before this board. The panel correctly identified these release plans as a mitigating factor, commending Ms. Lunsford's pro-social support within the community and realistic plans to manage her risk factors, specifically low self-esteem and unhealthy relationships, among others. Because there is nothing new and all relevant factors,
please conclude your statement.
Because there is nothing new and all relevant factors were well addressed by the panel that found her suitable, we urge the board to affirm Ms. Lunsford's grant of parole. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker card we have is for Susan Bustamante. Susan, I know you were here earlier. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Susan, if you're speaking. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, Susan Bustamante again from Home Free. Miss Lunsford is also one of our clients that will be coming to Home Free upon release. She has been a mentor, as you know, in her older age. She has become a mentor to a lot of the women inside at CIW, and she has called me several times, and we talk, and I've gotten to know her, and she's willing to work. You know, they have groups, they have work. It's a safe environment, and you have mandated requirements that she will, you know, she has agreed to do everything that she needs to do. She's got great family support, and she has our support, and mine and Tammy Cooper Garvin, who is the director of Home Free, and we look forward to her being released, and I will be the one picking her up and taking her up to San Francisco to Home Free, so she will be in my custody all the way up. So I look forward to hearing that she's got a grant to come home. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in support of Marcella Lunsford and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and you want to speak in support of Marcella Lunsford, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Marcella Lunsford? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers in support of Marcella Lunsford.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Marcella Lunsford.
Thank you. We do have a couple of speaker cards. The first is for Gail Gordon. Gail, if you're with us, go ahead and unmute yourself or press *6 by telephone. Your 2 minutes starts when you begin to speak.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I am Gail Gordon, and I am the mother of Nathan Dana Miller, who was murdered by Marcella Lunsford. I emailed my letter with the background information. I trust you will read it. Couple of things I want to say.
Excuse me, ma'am. Your
first
video
thing
is
is-
stuttering. It's hard for us to hear you. If you shut off your video, you might actually be able to. We might be able to hear you better.
And,
If you
and we'll
just shut
hold
off the
your time. We'll hold your time so that
Yes,
you
we
can
will.
adjust that.
How is that better?
Yeah.
Am I more clear? I just turned off my little heater. Sorry.
Go ahead,
go
ma'am.
forward?
Yes.
Okay. There are a couple of things that I'd like to say. And the first thing is I am very impressed with the effort Ms. Lunsford has put into various groups and into her education. And I absolutely do not want to diminish that in any way. I also believe that Ms. Lunsford's education is not going to impact her mental illness. I think for us to believe that will happen might be naive. I think she has a very good cover. To try to educate her out of intense early childhood trauma and her mental illness, in my opinion, is not realistic. She's got some pretty heavy childhood issues that I don't know can be handled with education. And so that's why I'm speaking and why I'm asking you to deny her parole. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. The second speaker card I have is for James Gordon. I go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your review of this case. My name is James Gordon. I'm Nate Dana Miller's stepfather. I would like to call your attention to a form filled out by Ms. Lunsford on March 1st, 2017. Despite multiple warnings about perjury, her application for commutation of sentence is fraught with lies. The first and most pernicious lie was that, Nate was molesting his son Ryan. Nate voluntarily submitted to a polygraph test and a California voice stress test. Neither of these indicated a false statement made by Nate. Nate had nothing to hide. The reason for the murder was that only days prior, Nate was granted 50% custody of his children, which meant a decrease in child support payments to Chastity, his ex-wife. Next, she claims, I was not present or aware of my son-in-law's impending death, unquote. And, quote, I was not involved in or in agreement with my estranged husband's intent to do harm, unquote. She was, as she later admits, the author of the plan as well as the motivating force. Of her accomplishments, after 14 years in prison, she includes that she had paid restitution to the victims in full, as if a few $100s to mother and father is any compensation for the life of our beloved son. In conclusion, she signed her name directly beneath a warning about the consequences of false statements made on the application. She has demonstrated both in prison and prior that she is willing to do or say anything to further her own agenda. These application lies show clearly that her claimed rehabilitation is a sham. She was only willing to acknowledge her lies when they failed. Her deceit and manipulation do not point to a safe
Your
or
2 minutes has
successful
elapsed.
reintegration.
Please conclude your
Thank
statement.
you. Thank you. Her deceit and manipulation do not point to a safe or successful reintegration into society. For the safety of her children and grandchildren, I respectfully ask that you find Ms. Lunsford unfit for parole. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to speak in opposition of Marcella Lunsford and are on video, please raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button and I'll call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and you wish to speak in opposition of Marcella Lunsford, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition of Marcella Lunsford? Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak about Marcella Lunsford? Chairperson, there appear to be no more speakers for Marcella Lunsford.
Thank you. The next case is Edgar Martinez, BE 1028, item 25 on our agenda. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
I apologize to the board for the technical difficulties I was experiencing. Hope you can all hear me now.
Yep,
okay.
You're great, actually. Thank you.
All right, perfect. Our first speaker is Eric Johnson. Eric, you have 2 minutes. Your 2 minutes begin when you begin speaking.
My name is Eric Johnson. I employed Edgar Martinez as an office furniture installer from March of 2010 until his arrest in 2015. Edgar's skills made him integral an integral part of our operation. I've worked within the office furniture industry since 1991, and he is one of the most talented installers I have ever worked with. He is hardworking, intelligent, and creative. Within an industry that is problem-driven, Edgar excels due to his positive attitude. Even the most difficult customers frequently requested Edgar by name. Although Edgar has been absent for 9 years now, the effects of his employment can still be seen every day. He led by example and created a culture of professionalism which carried over to the younger employees. My family and I spent time with Edgar outside of the work environment on several occasions before his incarceration. Edgar is affable and even-tempered, always ready to have a good laugh. I never saw Edgar get into any trouble for anything, so it was particularly disturbing to hear the details of his arrest. I have offered Edgar a full-time position with my company and am hopeful that he returns soon. The offer comes with the understanding that I will be vigilant in holding Edgar to his commitment to remain sober. I realize that Edgar was a functioning alcoholic, and it is imperative that I enforce our company's strict zero-tolerance policy for drug and alcohol use. As a friend, I will continuously check in with him to ensure he is staying fully committed to his sobriety. Knowing Edgar's character, I know he will do what it takes to remain a law-abiding citizen. When speaking to Edgar over the phone, I've been particularly impressed with his recognition of his alcoholism and his genuine commitment to never having a drink again. Edgar understands the gravity of his actions and the importance of holding himself to the highest standards. No matter how long Edgar is away, he will always have the support of myself and my wife waiting for him. If Edgar were to be released and sent back to Mexico, we will continue to support him in all ways possible. Thank you.
The next speaker is Juan Carlos Pacheco. Juan, when you begin speaking, your 2 minutes will begin.
Good afternoon. My name is Juan Carlos Pacheco. I'll be reading a statement prepared by Edgar. Dear Commissioners of the BPH, greetings. My name is Edgar Benitez Martinez. I'm serving 15 years to life plus 2 years for recklessly, selfishly, and irresponsibly killing Mr. Alberto Sanchez, as well as injuring his son, Alberto Sanchez Jr. I'm responsible for ending the dreams of the entire Sanchez family and causing extreme suffering, pain, trauma, trials, and tribulations. However, from the very first day of my incarceration, as part of my rehabilitation, I've made a commitment to stop drinking alcohol. In addition, to ensure that I do not act irresponsible, immature, and reckless in my future, I have learned to identify my internal and external triggers, and I have developed preventative measures to improve all aspects of my life. I hold myself accountable by working close with my sponsor, Mr. Jose Arturo Alva, and my home group, Oxford. I've established a social network in which all parties have a copy of my relapse prevention plan, accountability, partner contracts, and community sources to prevent relapse and maintain sobriety. Sobriety for me is more than just not using alcohol any longer, but it's about a daily plan of actions to keep myself clean in body, spirit, and mind. I am no longer the irresponsible man I once was. I now embrace a healthy lifestyle, having developed new skills, abilities, knowledge, and awareness, in which I use to prevent from being impulsive, negligent, and/or destructive. With great respect, in closing, please consider all the information in my parole package as an honest and humble testimonial. Thank you for your valuable time and effort in serving the residents of California and for the noble cause of prison reform. Respectfully, Edgar Benitez Martinez. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Claudia Martinez Benitez. Your 2 minutes begin when you begin speaking.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Mrs. Claudia Martinez, cousin of Mr. Edgar Martinez, and I have been keeping in touch with him since he has been in prison and his recovery process. I have noticed his positive progress regarding his alcoholism problem. My family and I recognize that because he is alcoholic, he should to drink a drop of alcohol. We will never offer him and we will not pressure him. On the contrary, we will support him to stay away from alcohol all the time, and we promise to be support and equal, providing him with a home, food, clothing, and emotional and economic support while he manages to integrate peacefully into society. We commit ourselves to provide him a home, food, clothing, and emotional and economic support while he manages to integrate peacefully to society. We commit ourselves to support him in looking for a job and be aware that he doesn't have relapse, always being in contact with his sponsor from Alcoholics Anonymous to provide more support to Mr. Edgar. If he should have anxiety crisis in process of searching for a job, we will be there to support him by taking him to his therapies and talks and never leave him alone. Thanks for your attention.
Our next speaker is Arturo Alba. Arturo, your 2 minutes begin when you begin speaking. Arturo Alba, are you with us? We will circle back to Arturo Alba. If you would like to speak in support of Edgar Martinez and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I will call on you when it's your turn to speak.
Hello?
Hello, is this Arturo?
Yes.
Okay, your 2 minutes begin when you begin speaking.
Mr. Alba, can you speak, please? Moderator, maybe circle back.
We will circle back to Arturo Alba. If you're on the phone and want to speak in support of Edgar Martinez, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Edgar Martinez? We will circle back to Arturo Alba. Arturo, if you're able to unmute yourself, you may begin speaking.
Mr. Alba, can you hear us? Mr. Alba? Okay, let's turn to...
Hello?
Okay, it's your time, sir. We're listening.
Okay. Thank you so much. My name is Arturo Alba, and I'm a sponsor of Mr. Edgar Martinez. About a year and a half ago, we've been having phone calls and talking about the 4th and 5th step, where he needs to change personality from the inside to the outside. I mean, besides all the support that people and friends are giving him, we, as a group of Alcoholics Anonymous, Oxford, that's the name of the group, here in San Jose, we want to offer to Mr. Martinez the opportunity to be sober after he finished his time or doing his time in prison. We talked several times about this time when he needs to confront himself, and it's not only to when he get out. We have a process to follow up Mr. Martinez behave after he getting out. if that's possible. We don't know yet. But he's happy with us, and we were talking. He has a group outside the jail, which is Oxford, and we were talking about not only emotional support. We have also support for looking for a job, places to stay. When we have the free time, we offer classes, cooking classes for people coming out from jail. And I sent the picture of the info to Mr. Martinez and also to Eunice. That's the lady who helping Mr. Martinez in court, and he has my whole information. I mean, more than eight members in our group, we became friends, and we know the necessities that he has. He's an open heart, and he say he needs some help to recovery and also to be in the society again.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed.
Well.
Please conclude.
Thank
your
you so
statement.
much, everybody. Thank you so much, everybody.
Is there anyone else who wants to speak who has not spoken in support of Edgar Martinez? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Edgar Martinez.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Edgar Martinez.
The first speaker is Sandra Hughes. Sandra, your 2 minutes begin when you begin speaking. Sandra Hughes, are you with us?
She's not with Edgar. That is for Paul Martinez.
Oh, I see. That's the next case, moderator. We did erroneously have her listed on this one. So there seems to be one more speaker on this
Our next
case,
speaker is
moderator.
Jenny Bolt. Jenny, are you speaking in opposition of?
That's also for Paul Martinez as well.
Okay. If here. If you're on the phone and want to speak in opposition of Edgar Martinez, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition of Edgar Martinez? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Edgar Martinez? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Edgar Martinez.
Thank you. The next case is Paul Martinez, AF 6010, item 26 on the agenda. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
If you would like to speak in support of Paul Martinez and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in support of Paul Martinez, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Paul Martinez? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Paul Martinez.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Paul Martinez, and we'll begin with the two individuals you had named a moment ago.
The first speaker is Sandra Hughes. Sandra, your 2 minutes begin when you begin speaking.
First of all, I'd like to say good morning. And I'm throwing our mercy onto the commissioners that we're begging you the way my nephew begged for his life, not to let this individual out, Paul Martinez. He was, in fact, an aider and abetter of why my nephew is not with us today. So we're asking that the courts and all of you to please reconsider on letting him out on parole. We don't have the family that we lost so tragically that night. So that hurt does not leave us. It does not take away him getting out. It does not take away the pain and the loss that we suffered day in, day out. So we ask for you to reconsider and not to let Paul Martinez out. Please, I throw my mercy and my plead onto the courts. Thank you.
The next speaker is Jenny Bolt. Jenny, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Hi, Jenny Bolt, Gary Bolt's mother, the victim. I too am pleading that you guys do not let Paul out, being that he is a gang member. He has shown no mercy for his actions of what he did. I also ask that he serve his time. He did the crime. He was proud of what he did. So now he should be proud to serve all the time that he deserves. If it was up to me, I would give him more. But now it's up to you guys and it's in your hands. And I'm begging you to please let him serve the rest of his time in prison and not out, because then that means I have to be looking over my back and my family's back because of him. So I'm asking you, please, and thank you so much for your time.
Our next speaker is Dana Greisen. Dana, if you are with us, your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak. Dana Greisen, are you there?
I'm sorry, I must have been muted.
Yes. There we
Yep,
go.
here I am. I'll try again. Riverside County District Attorney. In 2007, the inmate was an entrenched gang member. Over a simple insult, the inmate called his gang compatriots over to a bar in order to kill the person who insulted him, even though it had happened the night before and the victim had apologized. The victim was ruthlessly shot in the back and killed while another victim was beaten. While in custody, he continued that gang association for years. In 2011 and 2015, the inmate participated in 2 separate gang-related stabbings of other inmates. In 2018, he tested positive for morphine. However, his actual history of crimes he was not caught for is continuous and extensive. He admitted that before the murder, he engaged in 20 to 30 gang-related assaults. When he went into custody in 2007, he continued to use meth and eventually stated he was high every day up until 2014. He also admitted he used meth, morphine, marijuana, and alcohol up until 2019. How he was able to use meth every day for years and all of these other substances only having one drug RVR is concerning, but the amount of criminal thinking, deception, and level of addiction is even more concerning. As far as I can tell, the only thing we have showing he has been clean since 2019 is his own statements. Even if believed, he continuously engaged in serious rule violations for 12 years after his arrest. The inmate also has attempted suicide 4 times between 2014 and 2017, either by hanging himself or overdosing on heroin. He has been diagnosed with numerous psychological disorders. The governor's concern was his drug rehabilitation, and despite him appearing to have started the process because of his continued drug use and his past violence even in prison, the clinician still rated him as a moderate risk. Simply put, the inmate needs a longer period of time to prove his insight and rehabilitation. He should be tested randomly to confirm he actually is not using, as he is very good at hiding it for years. Because of this history and risk rating, the inmate remains an unreasonable risk to public safety. Thank you.
If you would like to speak in opposition of Paul Martinez or are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in opposition of *6 and identify yourself. It looks like we have a hand raised for Amanda Bolt. Amanda, please unmute yourself and your 2 minutes begin when you begin speaking. Amanda, if you unmute yourself, you may begin speaking.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Okay. My name is Amanda Bolt. I'm the victim's sister. I just wanted to come on here just to, bounce back off with my aunt and my mom. To make sure that he doesn't get out on parole. He had no remorse when he was speaking during parole hearing. Go back to where he only had four years of counseling, and he thinks that he's, going to be able to walk the streets of life as a society. I suffered PTSD for many, many years and had counseling for over 8.5. I'm still not okay. That night is a flashback, looking at my hands, my clothes, all full of blood, and he showed no remorse. He also stated that he didn't even know my brother, and he wished him harm or death, and he didn't care if he left him for death. And that's exactly what happened. I wouldn't feel safe if he would be walking the streets or being let out on parole. It scares me knowing that we're here today and he may have a chance. My brother never got a chance. He never asked for a second chance, So I just wish that you guys can understand and realize that 4 years of counseling and is not enough time, especially when someone's a mastermind behind a crime and numerous crimes. I don't think he deserves to be out on parole. I feel he needs to serve his sentencing like how he should. because my brother lost his life over his doing. And that's it.
Is there anyone who has not spoken speak in opposition of Paul Martinez? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Paul Martinez? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Paul Martinez.
Thank you. The next case is Otoniel Munoz, F72998, item 27. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
Our first speaker is Aaron Breeden. Aaron, your 2 minutes begin when you begin speaking.
Thank you and good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Aaron Breeden. I was Mr. Munoz's attorney at his subsequent prior suitability hearing. We contend that the parole grant was supported and is supported by the structured decision-making framework utilized by the parole board. Mr. Munoz has one, positive or mitigating institutional behavior. He has no 115s during his time in custody. He has positive job history as a porter, barber, kitchen worker, and he's engaged in general education per the 2021 CRA. Mr. Munoz has positive or mitigating programs. Mr. Munoz's programs, numerous programs, are targeted towards causative factors of his crime, including the Road to Freedom and a secondary program called the Next Step to Freedom. Those are both programs consistent with his life crime. Mr. Munoz has positive or mitigating parole plans that include parole plans for Guatemala, his country of origin. He has support letters and I believe employment opportunity. Most importantly, Mr. Munoz has positive or mitigating offender change. Commissioners Sharif and Neal conducted a thorough examination of Mr. Munoz. Mr. Munoz was able to articulate the causative factors that led to life crime, external and internal stressors, and defects of character. In addition, the CRA authored by Dr. Goldstein and approved 10/27/2022 gave Mr. Munoz a lower moderate risk rating. However, that document was approximately 2 years old at the time of Mr. Munoz's hearing. He engaged in numerous programs targeted towards his life crime. Again, as I stated, the Road to Freedom, the Next Step to Freedom, SAA, and additional programs. The document nor parole, that document does not take into account his subsequent programs, parole plans, and additional insight attained by Mr. Munoz. Again, I would argue that he has a cognizable liberty interest in parole and that there is no subsequent information or evidence in the record that would warrant good cause for rescission of parole. And at this time, I would ask this board to uphold the parole suitability found by the prior panel and their extensive
2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
And their consistent detailed examination of Mr. Munoz. Thank you.
If you would like to speak in support of Otoniel Munoz, and you are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and want to speak in support of Otoniel Munoz, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Otoniel Munoz? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Otoniel Munoz.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Otoniel Munoz.
If you would like to speak and are in opposition of Otoniel Munoz and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone, and want to position of Otoniel Munoz, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition of Otoniel Munoz? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Otoniel Munoz? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Otoniel Munoz.
Thank you. The next case is Marlon Roldan, AD 1376, item 28. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
If you would like to speak in support of Marlon Roldan and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in support of Marlon Roldan, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Marlon Roldan? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support for Marlon Roldan.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Marlon Roldan.
If you would like to speak in opposition of Marlon Roldan on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it's your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in opposition of Marlon Roldan, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition of Marlon Roldan? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Marlon Roldan? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Marlon Roldan.
Thank you. The next case is Ismael Villaseñor, P48365, item 29 on the agenda. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
If you would like to speak in support of Ismael Villaseñor and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and want to speak in support of Ismael Villaseñor, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak in support of Ismael Villaseñor? There are no more speakers in support of Ismael Villaseñor.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Ismael Villaseñor.
The first speaker is Esmeralda Garcia. Esmeralda, you have 2 minutes. Your 2 minutes begin when you begin speaking.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Mr. Villaseñor said if he relapses into substance abuse, it will happen again. His life crime consisted of his violently raping a 4-year-old little girl who was left in his care. His top 3 reasons for committing that crime sounded a lot like program speak: resentment, hate and rage, and low self-esteem. He said he wanted to cause her harm and hurt her. That was on page 24. Was that due to these top 3 causative factors, or some other deeper causative factors that he never scratched the surface of? Mr. Villaseñor was a drug addict who sold drugs and committed robberies prior to the life crime. During the crime, he saw the fear and pain in little Inez's eyes and continued raping her. He finally stopped due to her crying. His wife found him asleep on the couch while their son and this victim of this crime were crying. He said he read 4 chapters of Road to Freedom with another inmate's help in translating it for him. This book is meant to be completed with the assistance of a qualified clinician. That didn't happen here. This is alarming and unacceptable in our humble view. The inmate requires additional programming in this area, at the very least to complete the Road to Freedom completely and the way it was meant to be done, and not just 4 chapters. Not all individuals with the childhood trauma that he had resort to raping young children. We did not get to the core of his causative factors. In fact, all of this only touched the surface of his triggers, of his coping skills, and of his understanding as to why he did what he did. He did state that if he relapsed—
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude your statement.
Thank you. That if he relapsed into substance abuse, it would happen again. That is on page 38 and extremely chilling and concerning. We do request that rescission hearing be set at the very minimum. Thank you.
If you would like to speak in opposition of Ismael Villaseñor and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in opposition of Ismael Villaseñor, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition of Ismael Villaseñor? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Ismael Villaseñor? Chairperson, there are no more speakers for Ismael Villaseñor.
The last case today is Max Wade, AS 4536, item 30 on the agenda. Moderator, please call for speakers in support.
If you would like to speak in support of Max Wade and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button, and I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. Looks like we have a hand raised. Tommy Shakur Ross. You may unmute yourself and begin speaking. Your 2 minutes begin when you begin to speak.
Okay, esteemed commissioners, again, this is Tommy Ross, facilitator and program communication associate at the GRIP Training Institute, formerly incarcerated. I came to meet Mr. Max Wade through his participating in Guiding Rage into Power at San Quentin. The GRIP program is a rigorous year-long healing and accountability program that has graduated over 1,300 students in the last 10 years. Of our 1,200 graduates, over 600 have been found suitable for parole, and of those 600, less than 2% have reoffended. Mr. Wade has just completed our year-long program and has officially graduated on September the 6th, 2024. This year-long program asks a tremendous amount of our participants. We meet weekly for 2.5 hours and are asked to speak and write about our childhood traumas, painful life experiences, and the coping skills, distorted beliefs, and behaviors that led to acts of violence. The challenging and emotional work of our program is not something mandated, but something our participants interview for and attend out of their own desire to understand their violent behaviors and stop it, to speak out their shame and secrets, to develop emotional regulations, tools, and to heal in the community. Mr. Wade was an engaged participant and student of the curriculum. He has shown attentiveness and investment in the process personally, as well as providing encouragement and feedback to his fellow students during group discussions. As part of our curriculums, our students write remorse letters that are not sent to the victims' survivors. Mr. Wade's remorse letter makes it apparent that he understands the severe and multifaceted impact and long-lasting harm of the painful acts of his offenses. He is profoundly remorseful and fully accountable for his actions. Based on who I know Max Wade to be today, I can confidently say he has come to terms with his past criminality.
Your 2 minutes have elapsed. Please conclude
And the
your
harm he has
statement.
caused. Mr. Wade is a good person and is service to others. I believe if given the opportunity, he will be an asset to wherever community he paroles to. Thank you for your time, effort, and consideration with this matter.
To speak in support of Max Wade and are on video, raise your hand. Using the Microsoft Teams button, I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you are on the phone and want to speak in support of Max Wade, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone else who has not spoken and wants to speak in support of Max Wade? Chairperson, there are no more speakers in support of Max Wade.
Moderator, we will now take speakers in opposition to Max Wade.
If you would like to speak in opposition of Max Wade and are on video, raise your hand using the Microsoft Teams button. I will call on you when it is your turn to speak. If you're on the phone and want to speak in opposition of Max Wade, please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and identify yourself. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in opposition of Max Wade? Is there anyone else who has not spoken who wants to speak about Max Wade? Chairperson, more speakers for Max Wade.
Okay, thank you. And that concludes the cases on today's agenda. We will now take comments from anyone who has not yet spoken and wants to comment on a case on today's agenda.
Excuse me, Chairperson, it looks like that we have a hand raised.
You do?
Adrienne.
Yes, thank you. My computer froze while on item number 18, Louis Burnaby. Is it too late to speak in support of him?
No, go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Adrienne Burnaby. I am Louis Burnaby's only daughter, and I'm calling in support of his parole. He's done everything in his power while incarcerated to rehabilitate himself and take full accountability. And he's so remorseful of his actions and is committing the rest of his life to recovery. He's reflected deeply and participated in multiple programs, taking classes, and become a mentor and counselor. When I visit him, other inmates will often tell me how much he's helped them. So supporting others in their recovery has, become his life's mission, and it's inspired me to pursue the same path. I know he'll have all the support he needs from me and our family and his friends to continue this work when released, whether it be emotional, financial, or otherwise. I also know that my time with my dad is limited because of his age, so his release would give us the chance to spend what time we have left together as a family. I graduate college next year, and it would mean a lot to me to have my dad there. So I hope you'll consider this as you make your decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Moderator, we will now take comments from anyone who has not yet spoken and wants to comment on a case on today's agenda.
Is there anyone who has not spoken who wants to speak in support or opposition to any case on today's agenda? If you are on video, press the raise your hand button. If participating by telephone, unmute and identify yourself.
I'm having a hard time with the raise your hand button, but I would like to speak regarding Max Wade.
You may speak.
Okay, your 2 minutes begin when you begin speaking.
Thank you. My name is Cassandra Edwards. I am from the Marin County District Attorney's Office. Commissioners, inmate Wade presents a current unreasonable risk of danger to the public. He has proven himself adept at avoiding detection by law enforcement, even when under their supervision. He is incarcerated for trying to kill another peer over mere internet gossip. His crime involved arduous planning, such as checking the weather for a rain forecast as he was planning his escape on a motorcycle. He was able to plan an elaborate break into a car dealership alone. He was able to keep a high-profile yellow Lamborghini in his possession for months. He was able to run a fake ID business, garnering him thousands of dollars in profits a month using both adults and minors as employees. He was in the process of planning another sophisticated crime and amassed fake police equipment, including firearms, in preparation. All of this was done while on juvenile probation. Inmate Wade is highly intelligent, sophisticated, and criminal. He has demonstrated he's able to present as a model probationer while actually committing crimes and planning others. He is arrogant and believes he is smarter than others in that he's been able to engage in his antisocial behavior right under the nose of law enforcement. He has presented a carefully constructed facade to this board that appears to check all the boxes, just like he did while on probation in the community. Throughout his CRA, bits of his arrogance showing his continued criminal thinking appear. One example is his comment about how well planned his car heist was. Further, he self-reported that his own criminal thinking was extreme, and his CRA expresses concerns regarding his strong antisocial traits and highly developed criminality at a young age, which this board should not ignore. The victims remain terrified of inmate Wade. Their attempts on his lives has caused them damage that impacts them to this day. The district attorney urges this board to reconsider its decision to parole inmate Wade in light of his unreasonable risk of dangerousness to this community.
Thank you. And moderator, once again, let's just double check and see if there are any individuals who wished to make a comment on a case on today's agenda.
If you are on video, press the raise your hand button. If participating by telephone, unmute yourself and identify yourself if you wish to comment on any of today's agenda. There are no more speakers for today's cases.
Thank you. On behalf of my colleagues, I wish to thank everyone for participating today. We will recess the open session of the November Executive Board meeting at this time. We will reconvene in open session tomorrow at 9 a.m. This meeting is now in recess.